I'm sure they can edit out the first 5 minutes.
Okay, it is right at 10 o'clock. I'm going to give like 2 or 3 extra minutes just because the link was wrong. So if people are seeing now at 10 o'clock that their link's not working, they can hopefully find it in their email like you guys did. I did share the link to the slides for this presentation in the chat. I'll share it again once more people are in because I don't think you can see chats from before you were here. I'm not actually going to be using those today, but hopefully those will be good reminders of what I talk about. I'm mostly just going to work within Canvas today to show you guys around and give some suggestions on setting up your Canvas for this year. So we'll hang tight for just about 2 or 3 more minutes. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I did just reshare that link to the slides that go along with what I'm going over today for you. So if there's anything that you have questions about or need more detail on, you can check through those. Or also after this, you are also welcome to email Amanda or myself. My name's Crystal Kelly. I'm the technology teacher at Progress South. And
I'm Amanda Jones. I'm the technology teacher at Osmond Elementary. So
Amanda is our moderator today, so if you have any questions, she will be watching our chat and helping me answer those questions. If we don't know the answer, we will do our best to get you the answer. I'm mostly going to be working within Canvas today, so I have a practice course for you to see. I'm going to share my screen so you can see. If you've been on Canvas since last year, this course is mainly geared towards either new teachers who haven't used Canvas or don't have a lot of experience in Canvas, or those of you who were here last year and you're noticing some differences and you're like, wow, what am I going to do with these changes? How is this going to work with what I'm used to? So here's our Canvas dashboard this year. It looks a little bit different. Basically, Canvas heard what elementary teachers were saying about Canvas not really being user-friendly for elementary students and came up with this elementary version of Canvas for us to use. Once you get used to it, I promise it is a lot less work for you and a lot easier, I think, for our elementary kiddos to navigate. So when you first log in, if you were here last year, you'll notice that something that has changed is this icon over here is now called homeroom instead of dashboard. We're kind of going to use those terms interchangeably today because your homeroom is now basically your dashboard. I believe Canvas is considering changing this to say home. It's still everything is still going to look like this for the school year, but if you see this change to home, you'll know that that's coming. So your homeroom, the purpose of a homeroom course is to tell students important information or share important documents for your class. So now your homeroom announcements are going to appear at the top of your dashboard. And you can also have a schedule page here if that's something you're used to. We'll talk about that. And then down below, what we called courses last year, they're still called courses, but they're really for us, they're subjects now. So this is also what it looks like on the student end. So you're no longer going to have to do all this linking that you did last year. Your students are going to be able to access reading and math and social studies right there from their homeroom main dashboard page. So something that you can do at the end of this time is you can create a sandbox course if you'd like. I was told, I believe, that for you, a sandbox course was already created. If that's not the case, so what's a sandbox course? A sandbox course is a course that's created solely for you to practice in, create things in. If you want to create things within your sandbox and send them to another course in the future, if you're someone who's super proactive and loves doing work in June, then you can create a sandbox course in June. That is exactly what you want your course to look like. And then when school starts in August, all you have to do is send that sandbox course content to your new course that was imported from SIS and you're ready to go. So a sandbox is basically something to play around in, create in, practice in, whatever. So you can create your own sandbox course. And at the end today, I'm going to aim for about 30 minutes for you to just practice what I'm showing you and play around and set up your Canvas course. I know it can be a lot to get all of this information and then feel like you don't actually have time to implement it. So my goal is at least 30 minutes for you at the end. Amanda and I will be available to answer questions and you can be playing around in your Canvas course. So you can create a sandbox if you'd like by clicking the plus sign next to where it says My Subjects. And you can create, so let's go ahead and do that just so you can see. So we're going to click the plus sign. Associating it with this, and then we're going to give it a title, sandbox. But like I said, I believe this year they purposely pushed a sandbox out to everyone. Now my sandbox should be on my homeroom page. So yes, it's unpublished. Here's my sandbox course that I can play around in. From the dashboard, let's talk about what's on the dashboard. And then we could talk about publishing your courses in just a moment. So on your dashboard, you have a global navigation bar on the left-hand side. This blue global navigation bar basically is your control for all of Canvas. And then within each course, you'll have a navigation bar that allows you to navigate within that course. So if you click on account, something you can change is your notification settings. If you're using Canvas a lot this year, or if you used it last year, you probably noticed that you got emails all the time if you didn't change your notification settings. So something you might want to do is click on account and notifications, and you can set notifications for each piece. There's so many things in here. You can set notifications for each piece of Canvas to be daily, weekly, or you can just turn the notifications off. If you don't want to be notified when something is due, you can turn it off. So this might be a good place to customize how many emails you want to get from Canvas. Another thing that you might want to do here is set a profile picture. This is a practice course, so the profile picture, there is no profile picture, but it would be helpful to your students, especially if they are using this for specials as well. They could see their specials teacher picture and your picture so they know which account is associated with what they're doing. You will not have this admin button. This is for accounts with admin privileges. You'll have the homeroom button, which takes you to what we formerly called dashboard. All of your content from last year is still available. So in order to access that, you're going to use this subjects, formerly called courses. You're going to use the subjects icon. You can scroll to the bottom and select all subjects. And this practice course doesn't have classes from last year, but yours will. So if you were a teacher here last year. So at the bottom of this, all the way down at the bottom, you'll scroll, you'll see your past courses. If you had a quiz that you made or a module that you made and you want to send it to your course for this year, you can do that there. So you will access the content in your past course, and I will show you how to send it somewhere in just a moment. You also have a calendar on global navigation. You can create events for your students. So if you're planning on using Canvas for everything this year as kind of a hub for your students, you can create events. So you can tell them about the book fair, you can tell them about something upcoming in your classroom, and the events will be added to their calendar. You can associate the events with a certain class that they have. And then for them, they can see this event has to do with my homeroom. This event has to do with my technology class. This inbox will be used only if you want to message students who might be learning from home, or if you're sending some homework and you want to message them about that, you can message them directly through Canvas rather than having to email them. And then one more thing I want to show you over here. Oh, two more things actually. One of those is the help icon. This is super exciting because Hannah and Scott, our tech leaders, created what's called FZ Tech Central. And you also can put in a work order here and access quite a few other things that are linked here. But FZ Tech Central is a hub of just like every question you can think of, presentations, videos to answer your questions about Canvas, SIS, WebEx. You can also book appointments here with Hannah or Scott. For us in elementary, it would be Hannah Dykson. And you can book 20-minute sections where she will meet with you on WebEx and discuss any techie questions that you might have. So that's super, super useful. Then we also have the Commons. You will probably not be using the Commons as a classroom teacher unless you really want to look for something. But as a special ed teacher or specialists have a little bit of there's some things shared in the Commons for specialists, but especially for special ed, if you are teaching a student, a 5th grade student who is on a 3rd grade reading level and you want to access the 3rd grade reading content, you can search here. I'm going to search for Sanker because Stephanie Sanker is our ELA coordinator. And then I can filter that search because there might be lots of things that pop up for whatever I search for. And I'm going to filter it by 3rd grade, and I want it to be something created by Fort Zumwalt School District. So now I can see the Fort Zumwalt School District 3rd grade word study or reading, whatever it might be, and I can look in there I can decide what I want, or I can just import the entire thing. So I could import this to, when I click on import, it's going to give me my courses. So let's import it to my sandbox just so you can see how this works. And then it'll import all of this third grade content into my course. So if you're a special ed teacher, you might have created your own course. Your courses in Canvas come from SIS. So if you have students in SIS that you grade, that you report grades for, you will have a course for them in Canvas. If you have students, if you're a resource teacher and you have students that you do not report grades for, but you're supporting them academically, you'll have to create a course like I created the sandbox and then add the students to it. And then they will be able to access whatever content you either pull from the Commons or created yourself. So the Commons is just kind of like a huge hub of a variety of resources. You can access things from Fort Zumwalt, also things published by other places if you want to look and see what's there. Across the top on our new dashboard, we have homeroom, which is basically our dashboard. We have a schedule. This is really exciting. Last year we had this schedule page that we had to link all of our assignments to. You can still do that if you like that, if you prefer that, but you don't have to this year, because when you assign assignments to students or pages or whatever you assign, actually it has to have a due date, so pages wouldn't work, but anything that you assign with a due date, quizzes, assignments, those things will appear here in the order in which they are due by subject. So you can see all my math subjects are here, or all my math assignments are here, science, ELA, social studies. The students can access all of them from one place, and all they have to do is click on the link to access it, okay? You have to, here's the super important piece this year, you have to set a due date in order for it to appear on the schedule page. If you do not set a due date, they might have to access it through their actual course. Here are grades. When students click on this tab on their end, they can see anything you've graded for them. On your end, you can see your subjects, and then you can view the gradebook from here for that subject. Let's go ahead and view the gradebook. I'll show you what that looks like real quick. So within the gradebook, here are assignments that I've assigned to students. Okay, these are my 2 students that are in my practice course. And this student hasn't completed anything. This dash line means it's not completed by that student. My test student has completed and been graded on this assignment. They got 5 points out of 15. They might need to redo that. These 2 assignments are submitted. This icon means it's submitted, but it's not graded yet. Okay, so that's what my grade tab looks like. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. Or what my grade book looks like. There's a resources icon here. This would be really great if you were someone who used a Bitmoji classroom last year, or if you had like a landing page that you liked your students to access. You can put that under important info in your homeroom, and that will appear here for them to use. They don't need to worry about these applications this year, but at the bottom, staff contact info will give them the ability to email anyone or message anyone of their teachers. So those will be listed down here, and that's where that picture comes in handy, especially for, the younger kids probably won't be doing this, but the upper elementary kiddos who can send messages can quickly see who they're messaging. And then students do not have this to-do list, but you do. So on your dashboard, you have a to-do list, which will tell you things that need to be graded. So here's all the things that I need to grade. When you are on your dashboard, your homeroom course appears right here if you want to edit anything for here. Up at the top, announcements, your most recent announcement is going to appear here. So students can just log right into Canvas and see your most recent announcement right away. This could be a place that if you're doing a daily schedule page like this, that you would place your schedule page in your announcement. You can create an announcement just by clicking the pencil icon. You can change the title of your announcement. You can, this is editing the announcement that was already there. You can change the title, you can change things within it. So if you just want to relink each day and keep that there, you can do that. You can do it that way. Or if you want to create a new announcement, we're actually going to go in the course. So we're going to click on Elementary Dashboard Homeroom Course right here. And this is where if you're creating like a list of announcements, a new announcement each day, you're going to see your list of announcements. And you can create a completely new announcement right here by clicking plus announcement. You're going to create your title. And you're going to have the rich content editor here. So you can insert text, you can edit the text. There's not a lot of font options, and that's done purposely to make it accessible to all students. So there's no cursive fancy fonts. You can insert links here. So if you want to insert a link to a different website, you can do that. You can also insert a link to another course. So if you are someone who really loved that schedule page that we did last year and you're going to use that in your announcements so that students can have their schedule page to click on everything right there in front of them, then you can insert course links here to other courses. You can also insert images. So you can upload an image from your computer. We're going to click here and I will upload my Canvas course image right here for 4th grade. And you can also find images from Unsplash here. So if you don't have a picture already on your computer that you want to use, then you can search for something like computer or math symbols and insert images that way. We're going to submit. So there's my course image. Once the image is in there, I can change the size of it by dragging it around. I can also click on image options and choose dimensions for the image if I want to get really fancy. That's a little bit more advanced though than we need to be right now. I can insert media. So I could record a video of myself saying, so I could upload from my computer is the first option. I could also record myself saying, hi, this is Mrs. Kelly. Welcome to my class. I can turn on my webcam, which is not working because I believe because I'm using it for WebEx. So it's not going to let me use my webcam for this right now. But you can see that the volume bar is moving here. So I could do a recording and I could say, welcome to technology. I'm so excited that you're here. And then I can title it and insert it in my announcement. Right now it's a media recording. It's an audio recording because I don't have any video. I can upload documents if I want to. I can embed images. I can also insert things from Google Drive. So if I have something in my Google Drive that I want to insert, the first time that I do that, it's going to have me link my accounts. But once I've linked my accounts, then it should easily just pull up the things that are in my drive. So in my practice drive, I have these things here. So maybe I want to put this slideshow in my announcements. There it is right there, big and beautiful in my announcements. So I can also do, if you click on the plug, there's a view all button. I can insert YouTube videos through the view all button. If you have a YouTube video link already that you want to use, you can just paste it in this search bar and it will bring it up. Otherwise, you could search for something like digital citizenship and find a video that you want to embed and it'll embed the YouTube video there. There's other options on this on this view all drop-down box as well, but that one I think is the one that probably you will be using the most if you are using announcements. Then we are going to post it to our homeroom by clicking save down at the bottom. Now, when I go back to my homeroom course on my dashboard, my newest announcement that I just created that looks like a jumbled mess is going to pop up for students to see. I recommend not making this super long though, because you don't want elementary kiddos to have to scroll really far to get to their courses. They do get used to that throughout the year, but sometimes they forget that there are things below and they need to scroll. So this needs to be usually pretty simple and small, okay? If you wanted to put your Bitmoji classroom or a slideshow or something static that you want to stay for students to be able to view, you could put that under resources. You'll just have to show them how to access it by putting it in your important info section. So to do that, you're going to go to your elementary dashboard homeroom course by clicking into the course, and you're going to edit your important info page. So you would click edit, and then just like we inserted it in this same slideshow into our announcement, you would insert it from your Google Drive. You can also put images here. You can just put a note here. This could be where you store your newsletter. If you're someone who does a weekly newsletter virtually for students and parents to access. So important info you don't have to utilize, but if you're someone who's like, how can I, integrate these things that I used last year that I really loved, this could be a place for that. You could also put your schedule page here if you plan to edit it every day. So that would also be an option for you. I am going to go ahead and delete this announcement because it is not pretty on that main page. Okay. So now, how do I publish my courses? When you log into Canvas for the first time this year, if you haven't already, your courses are going to come in unpublished, meaning no one can see them but you. And no one actually, your students cannot see them until the first day of school. They're locked even if you publish them. So I recommend getting them published, even if you're not completely ready, so that when you are ready, students are able to see them and you don't forget that. So here's my Sandbox course that's not published. I'm going to go into the Sandbox course. I'm going to click Manage Subject. And over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to click the green or the gray Publish icon. And when it turns green, that tells me that my course is published to everyone who's included in the course, meaning students can now see the course. They can't see content yet inside of the course that's not published, but they can see that the course exists. So once it's published, then you're ready to go. I'm going to make sure I'm not missing anything. I think I am ready to go into a course. So we're going to go into our elementary reading course so I can show you what that's going to look like. Again, make sure your courses are published so students can see them. Okay, so here's my reading course. Your courses, just like last year, are going to be getting content. First quarter, it's going to become quarterly. It's going to get first quarter content pushed into it automatically. So when you log in, you should see modules and assignments ready to go. They should come in unpublished. If they are published, they'll have this green check mark. That means students are able to see them. If they're unpublished, they're going to have this gray circle with a line through it. That means students cannot see them. Okay, so if you want students to see something, you need to make sure to publish it. So I'm logging in. I created this welcome back module. You can create modules for your courses if you want to. So if you're not seeing what you want in there, or there's something you really want to do with your kids, you can create your own modules. So let me show you how to do that really quick. So from the main page where your modules are located, you're going to click on the plus module sign right here to create a module. And I'm going to call this, I'm in reading, reading 8/23/21. It's helpful to add dates to modules if you know when you're going to use them, because it makes it easier for you and your students to locate what they're looking for. So I'm going to add the module. A module, for those of you who are new to Canvas, a module is like a folder. It holds the content. So when I'm teaching in person and I'm not using Canvas, I have my math materials set out in one pile. I have my reading materials set out in another pile. I have my writing materials set out in another pile, and it's ready to go. I have the papers that I need. I have the materials, the manipulatives, the handouts, whatever it is that I might need, I have ready to go in my piles if I'm organized that day, right? So you think of your module as like your pile or your folder. This is where my math content is for this day. or for this activity, whatever it might be. The ones that are already created for you are labeled by unit, like here's unit 2, module B, day 1. So when you're ready for that, you can look at what's here. You can choose to use some things, or you can choose to use all of the things if you want to. Whatever is published is what the students will see. So it's kind of like, think of it like a hierarchy. If the module is not published, students aren't going to see what's in the module. So we publish the module first. When you publish a module, Canvas automatically publishes all of the things that are inside of the module, okay? We might not want all of those things to be published, so we'll just check the boxes for the things that we don't want published here, and then keep the check mark on the things that are. Here is a pre-created module, so let's look and see what it looks like. The first thing in the module for reading is a teacher information page. This is the same as last year. Actually, a lot of this content is similar or the same as last year, but it's ready to go for you if you choose to use it. And the first page is just teacher information. I probably don't want to publish that to students, but it gives me some background knowledge. Then the second page gives me my reading lesson. I might want students to complete this lesson, so I'm going to make sure that one is published for them to see. The next page in this lesson is the independent practice, so I'm making sure that's published so that they can see that. And then the last page is the end of reading for the day page. If you're in person with your students, you probably don't need to publish this. If you'd like to, you're welcome to, so that they know when to stop, but you don't necessarily need to. That was there mostly for our virtual students, but helpful to still have. You might want to use it still. Okay, so back to my modules page. I published what I want to publish. Students, when they log in on their end, if I've assigned, well, let me show you. If I've assigned a due date, you have to assign a due date. You have to assign a due date if you want it to appear on their schedule. So right now, this is what's on the student's schedule because those assignments are assigned to them, published, and they have a due date. If you're setting a due date for something that is already pre-created, so they're doing this reading lesson, I am going to click on Edit. I can edit any of this information, so if there's something that I want to look differently for my students, I can change it. And this was created as a page. So this one actually will not have a due date. I think the next page I can show you how to set your due dates. So within Canvas, we have pages and we have assignments that we use most often. Think of a page as a handout. This is something I want my students to see. They're not going to do anything with it. They're just going to look at it, read it, use it for completing an activity, but not actually do anything on that page. An assignment is something they actually have to do something on. So this is an assignment right here because I know that because it has points assigned to it. So when I edit this assignment, I can set a due date, and that's what will help make sure it appears on the student's calendar, on their schedule. So down here at the bottom, I can decide who I want to assign it to. I can set a due date, and then I can also make it available for longer, especially if I have students. So I want it due today, or let's change this. I want it to be due today, but I'm going to make it available for students who are absent from today until next Friday, so they can still see it and access it until then. Then we're going to save, and now it should appear on the student's schedule. They also can access it by clicking on just reading. So you've assigned that. They're going to log in. You're going to say, okay, I want you to complete today's assignment in reading. They can look for it on their schedule page, or they can click on reading, elementary reading. And then their modules page looks like yours, except you have this giant list of things. They only have the things that are published and available to them that day. So they might have previous modules available there that you left available for a few more days or something, but mainly they're just going to have whatever you have assigned to them. So that's how they could access that easily, by clicking on schedule or by clicking on that subject and looking for the module that matches. That's where dating it comes in handy, especially if you have multiple things published at one time. Let me show you one more thing about the modules. When you create your own module, Canvas defaults to putting that module all the way at the bottom. So if you want to move it, if you don't like it all the way at the bottom, here's the module I created. You can move it. You can click on the 3 dots next to it, and you can move the contents, the things that are inside of it, to something else, or you can move the entire module. Let's say I want this module to be at the top. This is mostly for your viewing needs. If you really want things in a certain order, you can also drag modules to different places. That gets a little tricky because the list is so long. It's hard to see that you're putting it where you really want it. Or you can actually click on Move Module, and you can select like before, and then it'll give you a list of all the modules, and you can put it before day 9 or wherever you might want it. Remember, students can only see things that are published to them though. So if you're moving it for the purpose of making it easier for students, then you need to look more at your published settings to see what they have available to them as well. You also have this option in the top right in every course to go into student view. And then you can see exactly what the students see. So if you're like me and you're like, I think this is right, but I really want to see, you can click on student view, and now I'm a student and I can see what the students see. I have a lot of things published right now, so they do have quite a few, but they don't have that huge long list that I have. And as I publish and unpublish things, I can kind of change how much they're seeing there, because that can become really overwhelming for our younger students. I am going to, oh, there's 2 options here. You can reset student view. What you can do in student view is you can actually submit assignments. You can do anything a student can do. So if you make any changes while in student view, you can click reset student if you want to like make those changes go away. Otherwise, you can just leave student view. Those changes that you made will stay. It won't affect any student work or anything like that. But if you submitted something as a student, you'll still be able to see it if you don't reset. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so I have a module that I created in reading for the 23rd, for the first day of school. Now I need to add some things to it. So I'm going to click the plus sign over here. Most often what you're going to be using are assignments or pages. You also can create quizzes. You might want to create a quiz. This is kind of similar to like Google Forms. If you've used Google Forms before, it's a lot more, there are a lot more options in Canvas quizzes. You can upload a file. I don't really do that very often, or actually I haven't needed to use that. You can add discussions. This might be for the older grades. I don't know that discussions would be something used in K2, but 3-5 might use discussion questions where students can respond and discuss the answer to a question. Text header, if you're going to have like a big module with lots of things in it, a text header is going to provide a break for you in between the parts of the module that so students can kind of see different pieces of the module. You can make just a link in the module. So you've got a page, an assignment, here's a link to a URL. And then you can also add external tools there. Again, that's something that I haven't really needed to use. So I'm going to create an assignment and I need to give it a title. Here's my practice assignment. I'm going to add it. Once you add it to the module, you'll see it appear underneath. You can click on it and you can edit it. This might be review for you from last year, but just so everyone can see the options within the assignment. Here's my assignment. I need to click edit. At the top, this is where you're going to put your directions or any materials that might be needed. Then you have your rich content editor here so that you can, just like with announcements, you can insert links, you can insert images here, you can insert media, you can put a video of yourself, you can put a recording of yourself here. You can put YouTube videos under this plug over here, just like before. You can insert things from Google Drive. If you do insert things from Google Drive here, it's just for the students to see before they complete the assignment. That gets a little confusing. They won't actually get a copy of that unless you choose it as a submission type. So I'll show you that below. So Google Drive here is going to insert, like if you have a Google Doc with directions or a Google Doc or a picture saved in your Google Drive that you want them to see, you can insert that from here. You can also access Google Drive right from here too to insert things. Okay, so then we scroll down. If you want to assign points to the assignment, you can assign points. Here's really good and exciting news. Your courses this year are set up to automatically sync to SIS if your grades 3 through 5. If you are K2, you're still standards based, so you're going to have to work through that differently. But 3-5, your courses are set to link to SIS. If you have a sandbox course that you created for like a resource student, or if you're a specialist, then it's not going to automatically sync. But classroom teachers, 3-5, you're automatically synced. However, you have to change your assignment group because your assignment group name has to match an assignment group in SIS for SIS to understand what's coming over. So classwork is probably the most commonly used one. There's also tests, I believe, and quizzes maybe in SIS. I would have to look again to see what the assignment options are there, but your assignment option here has to match that, okay? Then you're gonna decide if you want to display the grade as points, percentage, complete or incomplete. Probably in elementary, most commonly we're gonna use points, or we're going to use complete, incomplete. So I'm doing points because I'm doing it out of 12. Here's where, if you're saying, oh my goodness, I really want my students to complete this worksheet that I made on Google Drive, but I need them to each have their own copy. This is where you're going to do that. So on submission type, you would choose external tool. So we're saying we have a worksheet in our Google Drive we want our students to complete. Okay, I'm going to find it. I'm going to choose Google Assignments. You can also insert Nearpods here. So for word study, or you can also create your own Nearpod as well. If you haven't used Nearpod, I highly recommend it. That's a whole separate training though. If you haven't linked before, it's going to ask you to link your accounts. Otherwise, it'll just ask you to continue. You can attach something that you want your students to each get a copy of. So I would select something here and they would each get a copy of it. That's how your students get a copy to edit for you to see. If you're just wanting the Google Doc to be something they see and not edit, then it goes up here. Hopefully that difference makes sense. And then the other options for submission type, you can do an online submission. You can also choose multiple here. So if you want them to submit you a text entry and they are just typing a response to you, they can record themselves. This is great for our younger students and our kiddos who struggle with writing. If you want an answer to a question, they can record a video of themselves answering it, or of it, like they could also record themselves holding up their work. Student annotation would be like if you uploaded a file here and you want them to be able to annotate the file. Or you can require them to upload a file. This would be separate from Google Drive though. The Google Drive would be an external tool. You can decide how many attempts you want. You can make it a group assignment if you'd like, and then you can set your due date. Remember, if you want it to appear on their schedule, we highly recommend setting due dates, okay? Then you'll save and publish, and students will have access to that assignment if it's published. If you are a specialist or a special ed teacher, this is really important for you, but other classroom teachers, if you really loved having a home page within your course, you can do that. I'm going to show you this, but this is not for everyone. Okay, I don't want to confuse anyone. This is only if you really, really want a home page. So if you're a specialist like me, you probably want a home page for each course because your courses are grade levels, right? So you want each grade level to see your home page. Or if you're a special ed teacher and you have different groups. You might want each of your groups to have like a home page where you can link things for them. You do not have to do this. This is totally optional, but I've had some people who are like, what if I want a home page for my students? You can go into the course that you want your home page in. So if you're a classroom teacher, probably the easiest option is to keep your dashboard as kind of your home page, and then the home page option can stay away. You don't need it. But I'm a specialist, so let's say this is my first grade. Let's say this is my first grade technology class. We're just pretending here. I want my first grade technology class to have a home page where they can see my Bitmoji classroom, or they can see my links for that day, whatever it might be. I'm going to click on Manage Subject. And in navigation, I can move the home page. It's currently disabled. It's disabled by default for everyone because we really want the home page to be dashboard this year, and your homeroom course for the homeroom teacher to appear on the dashboard, okay? But if you are wanting a home page within your course, within your subject, you can drag it back here, and then that will appear for you to edit, so you can put in whatever welcome information or things like that that you might need. So you can drag it back, scroll down and save, and then that will reappear within the course as a homepage, okay? On course details, this is for everyone. So let me show you again how to get to where I'm at. Within a course, you can also change some course details that you might want to customize your Canvas. So I'm going to go back into my math course. I'm in math. Top left, we're going to click Manage Subject. If you were a teacher here last year in Fort Zumwalt, then or anywhere that used Canvas, you probably remember the blue, well, this is the blue global navigation bar, but then the blue word navigation just for that subject, the course navigation bar here, it is. It's hiding in the Manage Subject icon. You can choose an image for your course. You can also set a banner image. So if you saw our courses now have banners across the top, you can set separate images for that. You can also choose a color for the course, for the banner up here, or for the up here. You can choose a color. You can change the name. So the names that come through from SIS are not very user-friendly. So if I want this to say Mrs. Kelly's math class, I can change the name and it will change on my students' end. That's helpful for our elementary kids because math PP7-Kelly doesn't mean a whole lot to them. So you can make it user-friendly for your students. Make sure anything you change here, you probably won't want to change anything below that. You are going to scroll down and click on Update Course Details. So you can make sure to save. Oh, that's also where you, I think I showed you this already, but that's also where you publish your course is by inside of Manage Subject. So over here on the right-hand side, that's where you're publishing your course when it is ready to go. I showed you the calendar earlier. Calendar is going to show important dates and assignments due for each day, and it's color-coded by subject. If you want to mark something as an important date, there's an option at the bottom to check to mark it important. So I'm going in my math course. I'm going to click on student feedback. I want to make sure that it's marked as important. Edit my assignment. And at the bottom, we have an option to mark it as an important date. The reason this would be helpful is we don't want to do this for everything, but if there's something you really, really want to make sure your students see, then you can mark it as important and it'll appear here on their dashboard. So they definitely won't miss it. It's nice and easy to find. Does anybody have any questions yet? There's a few more things I wanted to talk about. I'll pause for a second though, because we have some time if there's questions.
I don't see any questions yet, but you guys can also post in the chat if there's like a topic you want us to go over. It might be easier than posting a question. But yeah, I don't see anything yet.
Okay. Something I haven't really talked about is SpeedGrader. SpeedGrader looks the same as last year if you're someone who utilized that last year for grading. So to access SpeedGrader, we're going to go to grades on the teacher end. We are going to click on view gradebook for whichever subject you want to view. So I'll view the gradebook for math because I know I created some assignments earlier and then I went in as a student. I went into student view and completed the assignments so that I could show you the SpeedGrader end of things. So as a test student, I completed the student feedback assignment. So I'm going to click on the 3 dots for the assignment that I want to grade. So this icon right here means that the assignment has been submitted. I can click on the 3 dots and click on SpeedGrader. And I can grade directly in Canvas. Again, if you're 3.5, that's going to be synced with Canvas with SIS. So your grades are going to transfer over to SIS. So here's the assignment. This is the student's work. They answered as a text box here. So I have their text answer. On the right-hand side, I can grade them. This drop-down box is going to show me all my students, so I can easily toggle between my students. And then I can give them points. So grade out of 10, they get 8 out of 10. I can leave a comment here. So I can say, great job. I love how you included details, whatever it might be. I can attach a file or a video recording. So if I'm like, I want this to go quickly, but I want to give them good, authentic feedback, then I can click on the media recording and I can record a video of myself. I can upload things as well. I can record a video or just a voice recording. If you're working at 8 o'clock at night in your pajamas and you just want them to hear your voice, you can do just a voice recording for them for feedback that they can listen to. It's not going to allow me to use my webcam right now because I'm using it for WebEx, but I could record a video and say, hey, great job. I'm so proud of you. That's also a little more personal. They feel like you're there with them. So for feedback, you also can do voice to text, another way to save time. So if you're like wanting to give comments to every student, but you don't want to type all of them out, you can say, hey, great work. And then when you stop recording, then the comment is here for them. And then you submit and their assignment is graded. These assignments that need grading appear in your to-do list, or you can find them in the gradebook. I also will show you what SpeedGrader looks like for, I believe it's this one. Oh, this is not the correct one. Let me. If a student submits a file, then you get a lot of, this is it, file upload feedback. So if a student submits a file, you get a lot of annotation options for grading up here. So you can drop a pin on something and then leave a comment about that thing for students. You can highlight things, leave a comment about it. You can put a text box anywhere. You can cross things out. You can draw on their page. You can put a box around things and then leave a comment about what that is for. So those are some options within SpeedGrader for grading for students. Oh, another thing in SpeedGrader, let me talk about this and then we'll go back to looking at dashboard. In SpeedGrader, another thing that you can do for those of you who did not know this last year or who are new, on an assignment, you can click the 3 dots icon here and you can message specific students. So you can message students who didn't complete the assignment or who haven't submitted yet, or students who scored less than a certain amount or more than a certain amount, like great job. I'm so proud of you for getting 80% or higher, or less than 70%. You can send them a message and say, let's meet for an intervention group. So you can specifically message students based on criteria in there. What am I forgetting, Amanda? So we went through our new dashboard. Homeroom is now a part of your dashboard, kind of to review. Homeroom is now a part of your dashboard. The purpose of this is to make it easier for you. So teachers who liked or not liked, either liked or just got used to the way that Canvas looked last year, you are still welcome to use the calendar pages if you'd like, to post links to past learning if you want. You do not have to do that this year. You are welcome to use the schedule pages or create your own schedule pages. If you're doing a schedule page, announcements or the important info section in homeroom is the place to do that. You can. Go ahead.
I was just saying, if I still don't see anything in the chat about anything you guys wanted. Surely there's something that somebody wants to see. So just let us know. You guys might be playing around on your page and trying to figure out if you have questions, but
Yeah.
we still have more than enough time. We can just start diving into other parts until somebody says something specific that they want to see, but.
Okay. Something I will say is that so schedule page was what I was saying. You could create a schedule page to link to either here or under the resources. Well, you would create it within the homeroom. So we're going to click on homeroom. Remember, the homeroom is linked here. You can create important info page. Okay. Lots of people loved having, at least at my school, loved having their Bitmoji classrooms linked in Canvas. So I can show you guys a reminder of how to do that if you're like, wow, that was a lot of work and someone helped me and now I don't remember. So if I wanted to put my Bitmoji classroom under my important info, because that would be a good place for that, then I would click on elementary homeroom course. And my important info page is the best place because it's static. It's not going to change. It's not going to go away. So I'm going to edit it up here at the top. Sorry, I'm going to scroll down. Right now it has this welcome to 5th grade slideshow. I can take that out or I can leave it. Important info can be long if I need it to. And then I'm going to go to my Google Drive by clicking on the Drive icon. And I can embed from here. So students can see my Bitmoji classroom. This looks a little not beautiful. We can change the dimensions. That's probably a whole other more advanced course in Canvas, but another option would be down here. You have the icon right here for embedding, hyperlink, or embedding the code. So if I want to embed the code so that it's interactive, like I link things to my Bitmoji classroom, I can, where is it? Here it is. Okay, so I have my Bitmoji classroom that I want to use. I'm going to click on File. This might be a place to write down steps if you want to, if you used this last year and you want to use it again, but you didn't remember how. Here's a Bitmoji classroom. I want to embed it on my important info page so that my students can access it easily without having to do a separate home page. So let me go from the beginning. I'm going to click on, from my dashboard, elementary homeroom course. I'm going to go to important info and edit that page. I'm going to get rid of what I had there. Yours might be blank if you're just starting out. I'm going to this icon down here that looks like 2 arrows with a line in the middle. and I'm going to switch to the HTML editor. I'm going to go back to my Bitmoji classroom, clicking on File. I need to publish it to the web. And then once I publish it, I'm clicking on Publish, then I get an embed code where I can actually embed it in Canvas so that it is live. So now on the Google side, if I change any links or if I change anything about it, it is going to be under important info. And it looks a little nicer and you don't have to worry as much about adjusting the edges and making it look prettier, because when I just linked it, it had like the black bar at the top and the bottom, so it wasn't as beautiful. So now students can access that from their dashboard by clicking on resources, and there it is. This would be for a homeroom classroom teacher. They're going to see their homeroom here, so, or across the top. So if you are a specialist or if you teach special education, you're going to be embedding your Bitmoji classroom or your Google Slides or whatever it might be on that home page that I showed you earlier that you add into your course. Or you don't have to have those things this year. You don't need to create buttons or links if you don't want to, but there are ways to do it if you do want to. So those options are available. So this homeroom course is just the classroom teacher. Also, if you're 5th grade and you're departmentalized, I don't know if any other grade levels are in our district departmentalized, but if you're departmentalized, this is going to be the homeroom teachers course. So if you want something here for your the teacher that you switch with, you want something there for their class, you'll have to work together on making that available for the correct classes. Otherwise, that might be a time when a classroom teacher would want to add a homepage within like math. And then students, if you're teaching them math, but their homeroom teacher is the ELA teacher, then you might want to add a homepage where you have just your information. So that would be a time to consider that.
Crystal, if they don't like the new Canvas view, they can go back to a similar to classic view, correct?
Yeah,
I haven't
you're
done
allowed
that.
to toggle between. So over here on dashboard, you can click on the 3 dots and go back to classic view. And it'll look like it did last year. And if you do that, then you're going to be editing a home page, making sure to set it as your home page within the course. And then having to essentially link the modules that you want students to use. You could still show them on their end. If you toggle to classic view on their end, it's still going to look like the
Updated version. So
updated
that,
version.
right?
Yeah.
So that might be where it might get a
Now
little.
it's not letting me toggle back. So, oh, just kidding, homeroom view. So you can toggle back. It's still going to look like this on the student side if you change it on your end. So just keep in mind understanding the design, the new design and what that means. So what that means is if you create if you toggle to classic view and you create an announcement in your homeroom, it's going to appear up here for your students like it does here. This is basically taking the place of your homeroom course. This section right here is taking place of your homeroom course, basically, and these tabs across the top. And then they could still, they will still see their subjects here, just like you'll see them on your end. They'll still have a schedule. Like theirs is still going to look the same. So if you're going to switch back to classic view, just make sure you understand what that means for the students in their view. So if you want them clicking on their math link to access their math modules, they can do that. Or if you're going to be linking like you did last year and you're going to be using that schedule page and things like that, make sure that you know what that looks like on their end, if that makes sense, and how they'll access that.
if you guys want to use this time too to like update your Bitmoji homerooms, if you haven't done that yet, I know last year I had mine interactive and I have to do like K through 5. So like each grade level I had linked like different modules. So make sure if you have any, if you're copying one over from last year, that you're changing those links within your Google slide to match whatever page you're doing this year.
We do have a lot
Kind
of
of-
extra time. That's the gist of what I wanted to talk about. If you guys have things you want to see or talk about, please feel free to ask us. Another thing to note, I think, I already showed the FC Tech Central, right?
Yes, I think so.
In
We
FC
showed
Tech
again,
Central,
everybody might
if
not
you're a
have been-
specialist or if you're departmentalized, so let's say you're departmentalized, that's probably an easier example for everyone. You're gonna have, if you teach 2 math classes to 5th grade, you're gonna have 2 math courses in your Canvas dashboard. So you can do the same thing twice every day, or you can do what's called cross-listing and basically put those 2 classes into one place so that everything you do to one happens to the other. If you create an assignment or publish a module or whatever for that thing, all of your students are going to see it. So I can show you now how to cross-list if you want me to, but honestly, for me, this is also very important for specialists because as a technology teacher, I have multiple sections of 1st grade and multiple sections of 3rd grade. So I cross-list them all into one so that my Canvas has just a kindergarten technology, 1st grade technology. So I'm only doing each grade level's planning one time in Canvas. So cross-listing is how we do that to put those courses together. I don't mind showing you now, but the easiest way for me to do that is that I watch this video. Even though I did it last year, I had to watch the video to remind myself and then pause as I do each step to make sure that I am not missing a step. So if you need to cross-list courses, do not cross-list courses unless they're the same. So you're not going to cross-list your reading with your math. That would become a mess. But you can cross-list courses if you have 2 math classes or if you're teaching 4 1st grade classes, music, then that's where that would come in handy. So just know that that is there.
Crystal, have you had anybody else that is still on Classic View? Like they don't have the option to switch to homeroom view? I'm gonna check with Hannah, but I don't think I've had anybody tell me that they haven't seen the updated view yet.
Everyone
I
that
have
I've
some
seen
people
has
who's
been-
like sidebars, navigation bar might say different things, but I haven't had anybody with the old look.
No, mine was at first when I looked at the beginning of August, it was in the classic view still, but then when SIS pushed our courses into Canvas, it changed over. So it should have changed over with the sync this year with SIS. If it didn't, then we need to put in a work order to figure out why yours doesn't look like this. So if everybody who's on here could check really quick, just go to your Canvas account while you're here, click on the bookmarks and access Canvas that way if you want the easiest way to do it. And then let's see how many people, if anybody else still sees the classic view, we need to figure out what's going on. You should see a view that looks like this. If you don't see this, maybe try the 3 dots and see if you have the option to change to homeroom view. If you don't have that option, though, we probably need to let our technology department know so we can figure out why yours didn't switch over. The design of Canvas this year, in my experience and opinion, it makes it less work for you to actually design anything. I mean, you can definitely customize it as much as you want or as little as you want. But if you don't want to spend a ton of time creating buttons and figuring out how to link things this year, it is a lot more user-friendly for that aspect of things because it's designed for us. It's ready to go. All you have to do is publish if you want to do announcements. Otherwise, just publish modules and tell students to access, make sure you date assignments, and then tell students to access them through their courses. Just saw,
Yeah, I saw, if you're a sped teacher, I guess you're not assigned courses in SIS, so that may be a reason why it's not updated, but I'm checking with our tech group to see if that's the
so
case.
I was told that if you don't have courses pushed through SIS, we can test this to make sure it's true, but if you don't have courses pushed through SIS, you will still be in Classic View right now because you don't have any new courses. So Canvas hasn't updated, but if you create a sandbox, it should change you to the new view. So so go to your Canvas dashboard, create a course, a new sandbox course, and that should force Canvas to switch you over to your new view. When they switched mine, when we were looking into it, I also saw that there might be something the admin would have to do though. So try creating, if you don't typically have courses pushed through SIS, so you're still in Classic View, try creating a course sandbox. If that doesn't switch it, then we can do a work order to have someone who has admin privileges switch your account for you. And don't forget, as you're editing your Canvas, that you always have the option to go to student view so that you can see what they see. So if you think it looks great on your end, but you're wanting to anticipate what your kids are going to see when they log in for the first time, you can absolutely always use student view. So.
Yeah, Emma said that still wasn't working. Emma, I would go ahead and put, well, I guess if it's sped though, and she has to wait for it to switch over, then there'd be no point in doing the work order, right, Crystal?
If it's sped and there's only resource classes, then it's not going to switch over because there's not going to ever be anything pushed from SIS. So yeah, we would have to manually move. I think in the admin console, we have to manually move that teacher's sandbox into like a certain location. So
still ever do the work order saying she can't.
yeah.
Emma, I would just specify that you're a sped teacher when you're putting that work order in. That way they know. But yeah, so I would still do the work order. You can just copy and paste what I put there and just add that you're sped. This is the not great thing about virtual PD is you can't walk around help people.
Right, and like have discussions and see what people are working on.
But I think we can, if you guys, I think we can unmute people. So if you want to be unmuted to discuss something, just post it in the chat, and otherwise we'll keep hanging out. Well, if something comes to us, we'll show you.
If you are this also, since this is a time for you to work on your Canvas courses, and design it. If you are a special ed teacher, you will have to create your courses, right? Because you don't, well, if you're a special ed teacher who doesn't have students pushed through SIS, you'll have to create your courses and you'll have to add your students to it. So I can show you how to do that while we're here. So earlier you saw me create a sandbox course. You would do that for your students. So let's go ahead and scroll back up. You're going to go to where it says My Subjects, and on the right-hand side, if you have Classic View still, there still is a, let me show you. You can still create a sandbox. Oh, over here on the right-hand side, you have to scroll past the to-do list on this version. You're going to click Start a New Course, or if you're in the new view, homeroom view, then it is the plus sign next to My Subjects. So this is going to be, we name it, let's call it Math Education. Probably will not call your special education. I'm just calling it that so we see this is the sandbox example for math special education. You might just call it math and then put all of your resource math kiddos in there. Or if you want it individualized for like your third graders, you could call it third grade math with Mrs. Kelly or whatever to make it a little different than their homeroom one. But you can, so you're going to create your course, call it what you want. And then you can choose a course image, just like I showed you before. Choose a banner image if you'd like to. But then the important piece here is that you have to add your students, because if they're not being pushed from SIS, you need to tell Canvas who your students are. So you're going to the left-hand side, this navigation, this course navigation bar, and you're going to click on People. When you click on People, that shows you everyone who is a part of this course, teachers and students. Currently, my practice account is the only person who's a part of this course as a teacher. So there's my name. To add students, you're going to click plus people right here. And then you can add them by their email address. So if you know first name or first initial last name, or sorry, just kidding. With students, it is last name, first name. So it would be Smith John, and then his birthday is April 4th, so 04 at student dot, whoops, fz.k12.mo.us. So you need to know their email. And then you're separating with a comma. You can add as many students as you want. Make sure you make their role student. You can also add other teachers here. So if you are a special ed teacher and you want to add the homeroom teacher to have access to see the differentiated materials that you provided for your students, you can add a teacher here. And then you can decide if you want them to be able to interact with the students, and then you click next and they are added to the course. So then when students log in, so let's say I just added John Smith to this course, when John Smith logs into his Canvas the next time, he's going to have a notification at the top that he's been added to Mrs. Kelly's math special education course. And he has to click accept. So that's something you'll need to support your students with, is making sure that they click accept on that invitation, and then they're in your course and it'll appear on their dashboard just like everyone else. If you decide you don't want a course, you can click on Manage Subject and you can delete this course right here. So if you make a sandbox and you decide you don't want it later, be careful not to delete your main courses though. But if you make something and you want to get rid of it later, you can.
Crystal, did you see that in the chat? Or no, never mind. You just, I thought somebody was messaging you. I was like, oh, somebody has something.
That was me. I was just adding those details to the chat. So if somebody needed to like see exactly what to say.
If you guys have any other tech questions, I'm sure you're all very hard at work on your Canvas pages. If you guys have any other tech questions that you would like answered, we can do that too. So just let us know.
We're both tech teachers. So if you have anything you've been wondering or need help with, please let us know while we're here.
If you need us to refresh your memory on posting like Google assignments through Canvas or anything, any kind of decorative stuff, just let us know.
And I just reshared those slides from for the information that I just went over. So if there's anything you missed or wanted a refresher on, if there was anybody who came in after we started, those are there. I shared a couple times earlier, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone who joined got a chance to view those. Unfortunately, SpeedGrader is still not standards based, just as it is last year. So basic steps for cross-listing courses. I can show you. I'm going to make, I don't want to mess up anything in here. So I'm going to cross-list my sandbox, but I'm going to make another sandbox really quick to cross-list with it. So we're going to call this sandbox 2. I have 2 classes that I teach sandbox 2, and I don't want to have to do the same thing in both courses. So I'm going to go to my dashboard. I'm going to choose one of the sandboxes that I probably should keep that published. If your main sandbox course is published, then whatever you cross-list into it, or not sandbox, if your main course is published, whatever you cross-list into it also becomes published. So it takes the rules of kind of the leader course. So I'm going to make this one that's called Sandbox be my main course. You need to have kind of a main course that you're cross-listing into. And I'm going to click on it. And I am going to click on Manage Subject. And I'm going to find the SIS ID, which is on this main course details page. Oh, this one isn't going to have a SIS ID, is it? Because it's a sandbox. Let me show you where the SIS ID is. None of these will have it. I need to pull up my account. Hold on just a second.
Crystal, those slides that I shared with you too from that, if you go to slide 16, it'll show you a screenshot of it. The elementary.
Oh, I could show just a screenshot. Yeah. I always think like interactive that I want to. Let me. I'll find the screenshots since I didn't think about the fact. So you're basically copying the SIS ID for the main course into whichever courses you want to cross-list with. I don't see which ones you're talking about. I see the ones from last year, but it looks a little different.
All right, I'll try it. Let's see, the one in our Google chat. I can
I see.
share them too. Okay.
Sorry, I missed that.
If you go to slide, just lost it. Cross listing starts at slide 14, but I think you're on step 16. Or slide 16, I should say.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'll just show you guys screenshots since I can't. I've already cross-listed my courses in Canvas, so I can't show you in my account either. So for cross-listing, see this is still last year, but that's okay.
She gets to the new pictures in the next one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you're going to choose your main course. You're clicking on course details. So that's where I was at in SIS or in Canvas. I'm clicking on course details. Then I scroll down to find SIS ID. So it's going to say SIS ID and it's going to have like a 4-digit number followed by a 6-digit number. You're copying this entire ID, but it is important to make sure you try not to copy any space after it, because I think in the past we've had people copy like a space and then it's saying that the course doesn't exist. Okay. Then you're going to go into this second course. So you're going out of that course you just copied the SIS ID from. You're going to go into the second course, whichever course you're cross-listing, and you're going to click Manage Subject in that course. But this time you're going to choose Sections at the top instead of Course Details. You're going to choose Sections. So I can show you actually where that is. Just minimize this. Because I am very like, I need to see it in action. So Sandbox. So I copied the SIS ID. Now I'm going to go into my second course. I'm going to click Manage Subject. I'm going to click on Sections. When you click on Sections, you actually have to click on the title of the section in order to get the cross-listing option. So that's here. So on the slides, you're clicking on this actual title, first grade. A lot of times it'll have like PP1 after it, or PP7, whatever, and then a name. When you click on that, you should see on the right-hand side this cross-list this section, and you paste the SIS ID into the second box. when you do that, it's actually going to make you click out here in this blank white space before the class actually appears here, and then you can cross list. Don't panic when you do this, because when you do this and then go back to your dashboard, you're only going to have one course. Essentially, you're putting the courses into one. So I've had people panic and say, it's gone, it disappeared. It doesn't disappear. It's now inside of the other course. So I click cross list this section, and then here's where I would paste that first course sys ID for them to cross list. Bitmoji classrooms are totally like your choice, your design, but most of the ones that I've seen have been made in Google Slides. So you would take so mine are made in Google Slides. You can make them if you want. You can find them online. Teachers, there's like a million from last year. It was super, super popular during virtual learning. Again, it's an option, but if you like them, then you're just creating a Google slide. And here's the one that I showed earlier. It's just a Google slide. And see how that's loading? Those are just pictures pasted. So you choose a background, and the background needs to look like, you know, a wall and a floor, or, you know, some kind of outdoor scene or something. And then on top of the background, you're adding pictures to make it look however you want it to look. So if you're making a Bitmoji classroom, that's a Google slide.
And then really from there, I know Kaylee asked about the Bitmoji classroom. Really from there, you decide if you just want it as like a static image, like kids just see a picture of your Bitmoji classroom, or like if you want it to be interactive where you're linking things. And like my Bitmoji classroom, I have like an assignment tab, like a little assignment picture. And when they click on that, it takes them to my module. So if that's something that you are wanting, that goes.
And I did mine a little differently than that. I mean, either way is whatever works for you, but like mine is actual numbered links. So especially for like kindergarten, first and second, whatever you show them is what they're going to be used to. But like the first thing I wanted them to do was like the #1 link in my Bitmoji classroom. And they would click on #1 and it would take them to the module or the assignment or the website that I wanted them to go to. And then the #2 link and the #3 link. So I had mine as numbered links. So I just put numbers in my Bitmoji room with like an icon behind it. So whatever design you're wanting, you can make it whatever you want.
I'm gonna post a link in the chat that is got like a crazy amount of Bitmoji resources. Just make sure if you add it to your drive that you make copies of anything that you want to use. That is like a known shared file.
Oh, awesome.
And if for some reason that doesn't work, you let me know and I can add you on.
Once your courses are cross-listed, this is my account. You can see your courses under the sections. So in manage subject sections, you can see all the separate courses here so that you know that you have them all here, first of all. But if you rename them, then you'll know which course is which set of kids if you need to do that. But for specialists, this is what it'll look like once it's done. Cross-listing, you'll see all the courses together that are able to receive whatever you share in that course.
Crystal, did you show, you might have already gone over this, but under settings and navigation, how to hide and show stuff? Like modules, pages. I know Scott asked me earlier that he couldn't find his modules, so I told him to go down to settings and then to the navigation. And you might have to like drag and drop some of those.
Do you mean like within a course?
Yes.
I'm having trouble picturing, but
Yeah, if you just click on one and then scroll down to settings.
oh yes, okay. So yes, these course navigation, these course navigation tools are kind of hidden by default this year because they wanted things to be simpler. But if you want to access something that you aren't seeing, like modules should have been there, but if it wasn't, it's probably disabled for some reason. So if you want to add something to your navigation options, like that's where you also access the home. If you want to re-add a home page to a course, you can. With the new view, you don't necessarily need to, but it is an option if you want to. So you just drag it to enabled and it'll then appear in your navigation bar.
You do have to make sure you scroll down and click save. It's
Oh,
hard
yeah,
to see
yeah.
it, but most of the pages and settings, you have to scroll and click save.
Yeah, we're used to not saving things now because Google doesn't require it often, but Canvas pretty much always requires us to save everything. I think we will hang out for about 5 more minutes and let you keep working on your canvases. Hopefully that is valuable time that you're getting to set those up and be ready for the school year. But we're going to hang out for about 5 more minutes for any more questions, anything tech related. It doesn't have to be Canvas design or the new Canvas updates. If you have anything tech related that you're wondering about or wanting us to go over again, let us know. Otherwise, hopefully you've had some good, valuable work time. All right, everybody, if there are no more questions, I think we will go ahead and sign off. If you need anything, please feel free to email either one of us. We're happy to help you get Canvas ready to go. If you have questions about that or anything else, just let us know. Otherwise, have a fabulous school year and we will see you later.